Good morning. Good morning. I'm excited to do some awesome training today. I wanted to start off by just telling you a little bit of my story about the traditional way, the slow way versus the fast, accelerated, rocket way to build your rental portfolio. So first of all, just to tell you a little bit of my background, I got started in real estate investing through a company called Strongbrick. What they did was they helped you get done for you real estate properties. So they would just find a property that was fixed up and ready to go, and then you would get a bank loan and buy the property. It was that simple, and frankly, it was, it's not a bad method to get a property. The problem was that, I was working as a professor at the time at BYU, and it, that took about a $43,000 down payment to get one rental. It was 20% down rental in Arizona. I was scared as heck to do it, but I jumped on it and I got the rental. But I thought, how can I do this more? I want more of these. I want more cash flow. I want all these benefits. How do I do it? So that was my dilemma. And so I just realized I couldn't just do it by using a bank. I had to get creative. I had to find other ways for getting properties. So let me first of all show you a couple reasons. Let's talk about four reasons why you would want a rental property. If I can get my pen to work, there we go. 4 reasons to buy rentals. Well, so one is cash flow. That's usually the most obvious. You can get some money coming in every month. Frankly, if you can get, when you get the house paid off, the average rental in Utah is going to net you $1,000. And that's about where it is in a lot of parts of the country. So if you want $15,000 to live comfortably, you just need 15 rentals. And the cash flow can set you free. Second, is you've got the amortization. So what amortization means is that you've got renters who are paying down your mortgage. So I talked to a friend recently who said, I don't know if I want to grow this fast because I'm scared of debt. And I said, there's nothing to be afraid of. Debt is actually your friend when you have tenants who are paying off that debt. The debt is a good thing. And by the way, if you have any questions, you can jump in at any time, and I'd love to hear your questions. For some reason, my whiteboard my connection went bad, so I'm just going to type out all right, so you got your first one is the cash flow. Second is the amortization. So anyway, you want your rentals to be paid down. All that debt can be paid down by your tenants. So third is appreciation. It's been crazy appreciation. I remember the first house I bought, I only had to put $8,000 to buy it, and then it appreciated over $100,000 within 3 years. So that's all money that you get to keep. It's amazing. Now you can't bank on that, but it's an amazing benefit of real estate. And again, with little money down. Number 4 is tax benefits. So you get massive, massive tax benefits through when you buy a rental. In fact, there's just to give you an example, I just bought my neighbor's house, and the benefit of this was I got to write off $78,000 on my taxes through this new the Republican tax bill is just amazing. So huge benefits there. You want your rentals. So let's talk a little bit about the slow method versus the fast method. Slow method, traditional banks. Let's talk about slow method. The down is that it's going to take forever. Huge down payments. So you got to have these massive 20% down. You got to go through massive underwriting process. This can take hours and hours. I'm not kidding. This can take forever to go through this underwriting process. It's a pain in the butt. And then again, there's a limit. So 4 to 10. So I'll say this, after 4, it gets really, really hard. Technically, you can have 10 properties on your credit, but it gets really, really hard after 4. In fact, for a lot of people, it gets hard after 1 because they don't qualify. You got to be able to qualify with your debt to income ratio. All right, so let's talk about some better ways to do this. There's a lot of great ways to rocket your real estate investing portfolio, to build it at super speeds. Okay, so super speed methods of building. Okay, here we go. But before I jump into this, let me just say that to do these methods, you really need 2 things. You need knowledge capital. So you need to learn how it all works, what to do, and you gotta understand the process. So knowledge capital is 1, and then you need relationship capital. Okay, because a lot of these methods require someone else, a partner. You got to connect and make it happen with another person. So that relationship capital plus knowledge capital is going to create financial capital. Because again, I was able to get 1 property, 1 rental, doing it the slow way. And then as I got educated, I added more and more and more. So let me kind of go through a couple of these methods. First of all, you've got your money partner. Money partner. So that's the great thing about real estate. I can't tell you how many people won't do real estate investing because they think they have to have all kinds of money to invest in real estate. Actually, guys, you just need to have relationships and knowledge. That's really all you need. Okay, people think they have to have hundreds of thousands of dollars because they're used to the slow method. They're used to having to put down 20%. So you can share the equity in a deal with a partner. So you can approach a partner and say, hey, I'd really like to, there's this deal that I've learned, right? It all starts with learning how to find deals. So, hey, I've learned how to find a good deal. What do you think? And you can show them the numbers. So I always show a money partner the numbers on a deal. I show them the potential. We talk through the potential negatives. All right, what could go wrong? what and how do we address that? Most things that can go wrong can be addressed with money. So I recommend at least $5,000 in a sleep well at night fund to, to take care of roofs or toilets or bad things that happen on vacancies, right? So you want to have some liquid funds, at least $5,000 to $10,000 per property, just in case, right? So you're going to talk about all the things that could go wrong, but then you're going to talk about all the amazing benefits. And one way is you could, ultimately you found the deal, maybe you're managing the deal, they're bringing in the money, you split everything 50-50, all right? So that could be, and again, it's all up to you to decide how you're going to split it. But, and then what you can do is they can get their money back when you sell the rental. So when you sell the rental, they can get their initial investment back, or you could always agree to give them all the cash flow until their principal is recovered. So there's a lot of ways to do it, but I bought 12 units in Illinois with my partner, George. We put up all the money. It cost $100,000. I found the deal. I connected him with everything, and we got the property management in place, and then we're just splitting the cash flow on it now. So that's a great way to build. I mean, look, that just increased my rental portfolio by 12 units with one transaction with a money partner. That's amazing, right? But again, you gotta create the relationships with other investments, and that's why Renatus is the ultimate way to do that, because you have a nationwide network of investors and contacts. 15,000 investors around the country that you can connect with, build relationships with. Maybe one person has money, another person has a deal. You join forces, make things happen. Okay. Then we have a credit partner. So this is a great way to get a rental property. You can, again, approach someone that has good credit, that has enough income that can qualify. Ideally, you get the person pre-qualified before you get too far along in the process. And then you can say, hey, I'd love to get a deal. And then, sometimes, I mean, it works different with every deal, but sometimes maybe you put, one person puts in credit and half the down payment, the other person brings the deal and the other half of the down payment. Or, I mean, there's so many ways to structure it, just so long as everyone feels good about what you're doing. So I've done like 4 of these, I think, now. It's a great way to leverage someone else's credit. If you can get good at finding the deals, or if you have the credit, that's the great thing, is there's so many ways to get into the deal. If you have credit, you can send me a message and say, Nate, I have great credit. I'd love to get into a rental. Let's do one, right? And then I can find one that's going to cash flow and we can do a rental together, right? So I have a list of people that want to do this, but I'm happy to add you to the list. And because I'm always looking for more credit partners. Or it doesn't have to be me, it could be anyone, right? That's the great thing. There's so many people you can connect with. If you have the credit and income, jump into a deal. If you have the deal, find someone with credit and income. And again, I've gotten like in terms of 4 properties, but then those were all duplexes. So this is like 8 properties that I've gotten so far with credit partners. So this is, again, a great way to jump in and get a rental. Another way to do this, and this method is really sweet because you can do it with almost no money. I mean, literally, sometimes you can get paid to do a rental. We'll have like a separate training on this at some point, but this is the BRR method. It's a buy, rehab, rent, refinance. So again, to do this method, you're going to want to make sure that you have that you can qualify for a loan, because otherwise you're screwed. Then you're gonna you can buy the house with hard money. So again, the rates on hard money is usually about 2% of the loan value up, that is charged as an origination fee, and then 12% interest over time. So you're gonna get into a property with a hard money lender, and you're gonna fix it up. So this isn't gonna work with a property ready to go, right? You gotta have some room to fix it up to force the appreciation, right? That's one way to get appreciation, is to force it by doing rehab, updating it. And then you got to get the house rented out. Then once you get the house rented out, you can get it appraised, and they're gonna see, hey, there's a renter. The appraisal came through. Maybe you bought it for 200, and purchase price was 200, and then you get it appraised at 300,000. So you put 50,000 into it, and ultimately you get 20% of the 300,000. Anyway, so you can get a house literally for little or sometimes no money down. Sometimes you can even get paid to buy a rental with this BRRRR method, buy, rehab, rent, refinance method. So I've done a couple of these houses now. I want to start doing more of them. And it can always also be a great option if you do a flip and maybe you're not able to sell it for the value you want. You could just refinance it and turn it into a rental with little money down. So it's another great strategy that can complement flipping as well. So that's incredible. And by the way, shoot your questions. I'm going to answer any questions at the end. So if you have any questions as we're talking about this, please just write it in the space underneath, and I'll jump on and answer any questions that I see at the end. So another great way to get properties, and this is what I've done so many times, because I only have 2 properties, 2 of those 40+ rentals. Only 2 of them are on my credit. Okay, I've gotten creative for everything else using one of these 4 methods. The last one I'm about to tell you about is seller finance. My favorite way to find these seller finance deals is find someone on the pre-foreclosure list. You can find these on Renatus iOS software, some awesome software that Renatus has to help you identify some rentals. And you're gonna you might approach someone that's in pre-foreclosure and say, hey, what if I could catch you up with a bank? What if I could help give you money to find a new place to live? I'm gonna save your credit, give you some money, some cash. God, that's a win for everybody, right? So and sometimes you might even run into people who just want to get out, and they're even willing to. I've bought a property where the person just wanted to leave and they didn't even want any down payment. So I literally got the house with no money down, guys. No money down. That was awesome. So so seller finance can be an incredible way to get a bunch of properties quickly, and I've gotten out pretty much all the rest of my deals through seller finance. So just to review, you don't want to go the slow way, guys. You want to accelerate your rental portfolio. I'm always kind of pinch myself when I think I've got like over 40 rentals now. Like, I am almost halfway to my goal. My goal is to get 100 rental properties. I want to get all those paid off. And then, guys, that 100 rental properties, that would be $100,000 a month passively. Passive income. That's amazing. Imagine what you could do with $100,000 a month. Now, you don't need to shoot for that. Maybe you're like, hey, 15,000 give me enough to travel the world, have a nice car, have a nice house, and do everything I want. Then what you need is about 15 rentals, 15 rental properties. And look, I was able to do that in 4 years. So that's, why can't you do it in 3 or 4 years? I'm going to be helping and training you along the way. So let's build your rental portfolio. Let's get all those benefits of real estate. Let's get the cash flow. Let's get someone else paying down your mortgage. Let's have you're increasing your equity by someone paying you. The first thing they think about every day is paying off your mortgage. So that's pretty awesome. And then that appreciation is going to give you so much. I mean, my properties keep going up and up and up. It's like, yeah. And then the tax benefits are phenomenal. That's one of the biggest reasons that I do it. Last year, I wrote off $280,000 on my taxes based on that accelerated depreciation. And by the way, we have an entire class on that if you want to learn the ins and outs of writing off 10 years of depreciation in the first year. It's amazing. Watch one of the classes in the bonus section on that. Could change your financial situation. So you can get these with a money partner, a credit partner, using the BRRRR method or using seller finance. Again, the seller stays on the mortgage, you get the title, you get all the benefits, and it's amazing. So use debt to your advantage. Debt is not something to be feared as long as you have enough money to make it happen. It can work beautifully. So let's start building your rental portfolio, everybody. I'm super excited about all the potential. And now I'm going to jump over and answer any questions that I see. So if you have any questions, go ahead and write it in the comments. Alma Wayman says, if you do the BRRRR method and refi into the deal rather than buy it with a mortgage, does it still count against your loan limit? That's a great question. It does still count against your loan limit. So that's why, again, you might need to get a credit partner to help you with that if you have too many. So it does count. So you need to be able to qualify for that. So excellent question. Dwayne Welsh asks, when renting, how do you calculate vacancy into your rentals so that you're not losing cash flow? That's a really good question. So it's not, Dwayne, it's not just vacancy. You've got, so you usually want to take a rule of thumb. A good rule of thumb is to take 70% of the gross rents. You take your so let's say your rents are $1,000 to make it easy. $1,000 a month. You're going to want to take about you're going to think of that as being more like $700 a month. Okay, $700 a month. So if your mortgage is $600, that's awesome because you can still cash flow. Because you got to think it's not just vacancies. It's going to be, you have usually factor in about 10% for repairs, 10% for vacancies, and 10% for property management. And yes, I always recommend getting a deal with enough margins so that you can pay a property manager, because think about when you have 40 rental properties like I do, the last thing you want to be doing is getting phone calls in the middle of the night about furnaces going out or toilets or whatever. You don't want to have to deal with that. Let the professionals do it. You want to leverage your time and money to not do that. So that's a great question. And then David Rucker says, have you thought about consolidating multiple rentals into one loan as a business line of credit? That's a really great question. And this is how you can free up a lot of space in your credit. You could refinance these into what's called a CLOC, or I'm sorry, BLOC, business line of credit, and refinance those, consolidate them, and then free up more space in your credit to do more stuff, or just keep adding them to your business lines of credit. Awesome, awesome idea. And David also says he watched the advanced velocity banking class. So this is velocity banking. For those of you in Replace Your Mortgage who came from there, this is what we call the Replace Your Mortgage strategy. We call it the advanced, we call it velocity banking. And there's a class in the bonus section that can show you how to write off, how to pay off tons of properties, rental properties through the velocity banking, getting HELOCs and paying them off more and more and more. It's amazing. You got to watch the class. Fantastic. So Jessica asked for accelerated depreciation deduction. Do you have to pay that back if you sell the property? That's a really great question, Jessica. And they go over all the details in the class, but just to give you the quick version, let's say your tax bracket is highest, because if you're doing a lot of these, probably means you're in the top tax bracket, like many of my team members, my students are. And so you are going to need to, if you sell the property, then you are going to need to recapture some of those taxes back that you wrote off. The good news is, instead of being in the 46% tax bracket, the recapture rate is at 25%. So it's still a win there. The numbers don't come out to be too favorable if you're doing it in a short amount of time. So I would recommend the accelerated depreciation strategy for something you're going to keep at least for 2 years, and then it kind of makes sense, because it does cost about $1,500 per rental to do this. So you're going to want to keep it for a little while. And then, as David Rucker just mentioned, you can do a 1031 exchange. To me, I don't love 1031 exchanges just because I don't want to leave so much equity in the deal, but it is a great way to save on taxes. We have an entire class for you to watch on the 1031 exchange. So this is a great method as well, but you do have to leave some of the equity sitting in the property. It's harder to harvest it out. So that's a great interchanges, guys. Any other questions, hurry and type them. We're just about to end. So if anything else popped up, I love to be here. I mean, this is why we're here. I love this is your reward for being on this live. So you got to jump on and ask questions live. So this has been a great interchange. You can feel free to also type your questions. I try to jump on and answer those questions later on, but the live is the best way to make sure you get an answer to your questions. So try and be here live whenever you can. And guys, thank you so much for joining. This has been a pleasure to be with you. I really my ultimate goal is to help create 100 millionaires through real estate, and buying a lot of rentals is a great way to become a millionaire fast. With the appreciation, and that's what pushed me to millionaire status, is having all these rentals. So keep up the good work, and let's chat soon. If you're not a part of the group, I'd love to talk to you about how to, let's sit down and have a consult, and so you can get access to all these great classes and this awesome education program. And thank you so much for joining, and have a wonderful rest of your day.